Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Christmas Ornaments 2021 Santa. That is gonna be this guy right here. This Santa with the bag. There we go! It focused, oh my gosh. And next to it is the gingerbread house I did at the start. I think I'm about halfway. Is 12 what I decided on? I'm not sure. We'll see.
Alright! And now we're going to talk about Shutter Island.
Which we may have talked about before and forgotten about, but if we haven't...
Well, now we're talking about it again, or for the first time.
If we are talking about it again, you should definitely watch the old video and compare them and call us hypocrites if we get anything wrong or different.
I would just like to say, I had this movie spoiled for me. So, from the perspective of someone going into it, already knowing what happened, still good, but like, it's obviously not mind-blowing or mind-boggling the way it had to have been for someone who did not know the spoiler.
So, talking about the first time I saw it, like, years ago, I felt kind of conflicted about the twist. Because, like, short version, Shutter Island, this guy investigating a thing. Do we all know the plot of Shutter Island? No. Fine.
Probably not.
Alright, so...
I mean, this is your job. This is what you're here for.
I get paid?
No.
Oh. Oh. So Leonardo DiCaprio's on a boat with the Hulk. And they're going to this, like, mental institution.
It's Mark Ruffalo, by the way. I
Yes.
remembered his name in this moment. Go.
I forget exactly why they're there. Oh, because they're investigating a disappearance
girl that's been disappeared,
who's missing. And DiCaprio's got his own agenda. And they're going to go around the island and try and figure out what's really going on. And I will say this, if you haven't seen the movie and you've ever wanted to watch the movie and you somehow haven't had it spoiled, go watch it. I think it's absolutely worth it, and stop listening because there's no way to discuss it without spoiling it. So from here on out, massive spoilers. The big twist being that they are not marshals going to the island.
There is not a missing girl.
Correct. Leonardo DiCaprio is the most dangerous inmate on the island. It's for psychologically ill people. And Mark Ruffalo is his psychiatrist. And they're doing this incredibly unusual role play because what happens is that Leo has made breakthroughs before. He basically denies that he's even here. He always is pretending to be a marshal, as if he was still in the marshals, because he was before an event occurred. So he's mentally protecting himself by always pretending that he's in the marshals and he's investigating. And they're like, well, yeah, but, we've got you locked in this bedroom here. Like, he's in complete denial. So they've made breakthroughs with him before, but then he reverts back to the same narrative loop. So it's gotten to the point where he's so dangerous because he'll lose his temper if people tell him what his real name is, because he's also changed his name and stuff. Mm-hmm. That they're gonna basically lobotomize him. And so as a last-ditch effort, one of the head people and the psychiatrist get together and convince the warden and I believe some other people one of the lead doctors, that, hey, we're going to try this crazy role play. We're going to let him think he's actually a marshal, and we're going to walk around the island and do what he wants to do and see if this can, snap him into reality when he realizes none of this is real. It's all paranoid delusions.
It's not adding up.
And, save him from being lobotomized. That's the secret going on that you only find out at the very end of the movie. So the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, it was good. First of all, the performances, the shoot, the lighting, everything's phenomenal. It's, Scorsese? I don't remember who it is, but it's someone who's just, the whole thing's phenomenal. And that alone is worth making you watch it. And it is very well done. But just something about it kind of stretches the incredulity. There's so many moments that happen, and now that you know that this happened, I kind of saw something like this coming even when I first watched it. And you're like, well, okay, what happened with this? What happened with that? There's a lot of moments where you're just left wondering, what exactly happened there? Did he just, climb down a cliff and sit in a cave all night and talk to himself,
or was there actually a woman in there that he was talking
well,
to?
I don't think there's at any point where I believe there was actually a woman there. But was it like, did he not even go down that cliff? You know, was that like all...
Was he just looking over and then imagining all of that?
And then you kind of start wondering, like, okay, how cleanly was this put together? Like, does this really hold up? And so, watching it with you the second time, or maybe the third time I've seen the movie, I actually, in a way, think it holds up even better. It's unusual, because I'm not sure I felt that way the first time I rewatched it, but yeah, there's just a lot of nice little touches in that, from the body language and the way that people talk to him, you can tell where their stance is on this sort of political game that's being played. Because the psychologist and the head of therapy are putting their careers on the line, saying, hey, we can save this guy, we've got to do this really crazy role play where we're basically going to let him run around like a lunatic. Whereas the warden and the head doctor and all these other people obviously think he's just a dangerous idiot who should be lobotomized, and they're still mostly sort of kind of following along, and knowing that's the context which they're talking in, that they're in on the game, they do some really incredible performances in writing to, like, get them to really show off, like, the secret of what their opinion on this whole thing is. And I just think there's so many great little speeches, like, the warden driving him back after the storm. The whole, like, oh, would you, if I sank my teeth into your eyeball, do you think, like, just lots of little things. And then also the, one of my favorite scenes is the head guy doing the villain monologue, because he's in on it, you know, and he's the one who wants it to work. So it was where others are kind of like the warden pretty much is like, meh, whatever, you'll do whatever, and he's pretty much talking to him as if he knows, as if they both know this is a role play, even though the wording still doesn't give it away. He's sort of just like, yeah, you know what's going to happen to you, you know what this is, and it sounds like a dark threat, but in reality that's his take on it. Whereas, of course, the warden commits, or sorry, not the warden, the head therapist or whatever, commits to the villain monologue of the secret mastermind who's brainwashing people and whatnot, because he really wants this to work. So he's going to commit to the narrative and give him all the reasons to believe, so that he'll eventually go up to the lighthouse and go, oh, there's nothing here. There's no bullets in these guns. My gun is a toy. Like, all these really good moments. So, I don't know, I just rambled about it even though you watched the movie, but I think I kind of got more from the rewatch.
The most memorable scene for me, and again, I had this spoiled, so I knew as soon as it started that Leonardo DiCaprio was one of the crazy people. And, but one of the scenes that stood out to me was when Mark Ruffalo, so he's actually a psychologist, but he appears to be a cop? What's the term?
A marshal.
A marshal, there we go, thank you. And he fumbles pulling out his gun, which makes sense. Psychologist isn't normally going to carry around a gun.
Yeah, he's
not going to know what he's doing.
He doesn't even know how to get the gun out of the holster, so, like, he gives the entire holster to the guy. Like it's really...
Oh, it was so great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you could watch it because they make him out to be, like, a rookie. Like, he's new to this.
Or something like that,
yeah. Or, like, he's new to this division, rather. Whatever.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, was, like, he's his new partner, and there's a whole bunch of supposed weirdness going on there, and yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I really like it. I think it's a, like all of his stuff, it's a must-see. Like, if you're really into movies, it's just go watch it, you know? I don't know, would you, like, actually recommend it that highly, or?
I'd recommend it, but I have zero desire to ever watch it again. Like, that's kind of how I am with Fight Club. Like, I had it spoiled. It's not that good when you watch it and you don't get to experience it.
I still enjoyed it spoiled, but whatever, fine.
The first time you saw Fight Club, you knew?
Did I? I don't think I did the first time, no.
See, then, like, you can't say that.
But I enjoyed it on rewatch. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times. Yes,
that's not the thing. You still got to enjoy it the first time of having it. Just experience it. I knew going in what the spoiler was, so it was kind of like, yep. It wasn't fun. I didn't get to be shocked or surprised by it. I didn't get to try and figure it out on my own.
You did have, like, 1 or 2 small misunderstandings from my memory.
For what?
Like...
For Shutter Island?
Yeah, like, you had... The way you thought it was going to go...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I may not have had all of it, but I knew that Leo's character was the one in the institution. and I knew that Mark Ruffalo was one of his doctors.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And, like, that's the main thing. Like, yeah, you learn pretty quickly that Leo, if you have it spoiled, Leo killed his wife. She killed their kids, but he killed his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Common theme for him.
Did he kill his wife?
Well, just like wife and kid trauma. Like, that's Inception.
Okay, yeah.
Just reversed roles.
Yeah.
Leo trying to get back to his kids. It's like Matt Damon trying to get back to Earth.
That was a good movie.
Which one?
The Mars one.
Okay. Right, you still haven't seen
Cooked
Interstellar.
potatoes. What?
You haven't seen Interstellar.
Was that the one with Nick Cage?
No, you haven't seen it. It's the one with Matt Damon. It's actually the one with Matthew McConaughey as the main star, but Matt Damon's in it.
Is that the one I've seen bits and pieces of?
Not to my knowledge. I've discussed it with you before, and you've been like, yeah, I haven't seen that, but... It's a good movie. We should watch it.
Can be on the list.
It is.
Anne Hathaway's also in it.
Yes. So, yeah, how much time do we have left?
Not enough for Spider-Man. That's 6 minutes. That is not enough.
Sure it is.
No, it's not!
It's really, really good at the end.
Do you have anything else to say about Shutter Island?
I mean, I can ramble about it all day.
Well,
but...
you can ramble about it for the next 6 minutes.
Okay, fine. Love you too. No.
You made it sound like that was a good thing that you could ramble about it.
Well, you made it sound like it was a bad thing that I could ramble about it, so there.
Well, it was I can't talk about Spider-Man right now thing.
I see. So... And now that I'm on the spot. Yeah, no, it's really interesting to see, like, the various conversations, because coming across as writing that kind of dialogue in a way that feels... not just gimmicky. Because, like, the gimmick is everyone's talking to him in a way that they're going to misunderstand. And those are some of the worst ways to do writing. Like, when, the character's talking to the other character and they don't understand and they wind up angry at them. Like, everyone hates that trope. Where you think they're like, oh yeah, I saw him. Like, oh, so he was cheating on me. And, like, they don't mean him, their husband. They mean him, some friend. And there's a miscommunication. And that is literally the hook for this entire movie, is a bunch of characters try to talk to him earnestly. There's that one entire dialogue in the one of the Darker Wings where there's a guy who knows who he is, who he beat up and attacked, who he's kind of mentally played a game to manipulate himself into, like, thinking of him as an informant.
It's Rorschach, right?
Yeah, the actor, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's talking to him, and it is a really well-written conversation because it feels real. It doesn't feel like the writers are just trying to, like, well, we have to make this be clever, like playing the pronoun game and all that. They get a lot of help, and they're dealing with a guy who clearly has mental issues, but it feels real. There's no there's no weakness in that, and that's why I really admire the movie, because they do such a good job with, like, every interaction that's supposed to be authentic. Again, like the warden rambling at him, the doctor kind of psychoanalyzing him. When they burst into a board meeting and one of the board members just spoils the whole thing right there, and like, rule of 4, yeah, that was great. Mm-hmm. And, like, everyone gets really uncomfortable and awkward, and it's a clever way to play it off, because your first take is like, oh, okay, so, it's so corrupt, and they don't realize that they just spoiled it in front of a marshal who's investigating, and he's going to rat on them. And no, it's because they're like, you're going to screw up this guy's therapy, like, shut the heck up. Mm-hmm. And they actually sell it. It's really impressive to see one of the tropes I hate the most, which is the oops misunderstanding, just executed so well over and over and over again throughout that entire movie. Like, every single time you've got that kind of dialogue going on, it feels pretty authentic. There's maybe one or two little head scratchers and whatnot, and I know there's always the, like, well, boy, it sure is convenient that this hyper improvised super dangerous roleplay worked out, especially given there happened to be a record-setting storm hitting the island in the middle of it that caused untold chaos and threw everything in disarray. Like,
and they let him out during that storm.
Yeah. Which, like, the way the movie reads to me is that, yeah, they're that desperate and that willing to try it.
Well, and then they also knew that storm was so bad, there was no way for him to get off the island.
Right.
And the only way off was on a boat, and everybody on the island besides him knew.
But the big
that
concern
he was
is
crazy.
that, one, he could die, or two, he could kill someone else during this. You know, like, he does attack a guard at one point and hits him with the butt of his rifle. Now, there's no bullets in the gun that he steals, but he could have caved that guy's head in with a rifle, and, like, that is a legit concern. And so, it's one of those movies where as you're watching, you're like, does this really make sense? And it definitely crosses that line to where, like, no, it doesn't, even if you're, like, trying to, like, find the best interpretation of it. But I think it just barely crosses, and I don't care, the rest of it's phenomenal, so whatever. You know, it's what Hitchcock would call fridge logic. Have I told you that one?
I'm not sure.
So, Alfred Hitchcock made lots of good movies. He called it fridge logic, where it's the sort of thing that you're never going to notice sitting in the theater, and you're going to be back at home, and you're at the fridge, and you go, well, wait a minute, if he was standing here, like, you know, Sandman, like, why did Sandman get angry and do things in this movie that we never get to discuss?
I swear to God, if you just spoiled that movie for someone, I would be so angry with you.
I love you.
Do you, though?
Mm-hmm.
Do.
The most. So, fridge logic.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say something to that, and I've lost it now because you mentioned another movie. What were you saying before the fridge logic? What was it about?
That the movie basically holds up. Like, yeah, there's some stuff where you're like, that's unbelievable, but it doesn't really hit you until later, in my opinion. Like, it's acceptable, unbelievable, stretching the truth in reality.
But there was a specific moment you were thinking of.
Oh, that caused me to think that? Like,
yes.
Him beating up the guard and getting out during the storm and getting to wander around even though, like, everything's going sideways and them just deciding that's okay. Liz, this is your therapy session.
I don't know what I was going to say. But we're at the end, so I guess it's okay. It doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter.
I did
The
not
points
say
don't
that.
matter.
I'm not going on the record with that.
And that is the end of Christmas Ornaments 2021. Santa, I got 2 hours and 28 minutes of footage. So there is little Santa. He's adorable. Also, I doubt anyone noticed, but there is now a pretty dragon lady here instead of the Star Wars Lego, because that was David's and this is my side of the entertainment system. So the Star Wars guy's on the right side now. And there's also this cup. Like, I'm getting a lot of dragon presents and it's great. I love it. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do a second one because we're gonna be going out to eat soon, but maybe tomorrow. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz. I'll see you guys in the next video.